Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next live stream. I forgot, I should turn my light on. Give me 1 sec on that. Oh, fully prepared. There we go. I got that fixed. Anywho, how's everybody doing? Not. Let's make sure my whatchamajigger lighting is working.
Got a pile of clothes you never wear anymore?
Got an ad immediately. I do have the ads on, so that does make sense. All right, sweet. It's working. Let's get this closed. Just making sure the audio is working, and yeah, it's all good. So, how's everybody doing? This is the second of the 9 live streams that I am doing for 2,500 subscribers. 2,500. I personally like 2,500 better, just personal preference. Hope everyone's doing good. Yeah, we're just hanging out again, same as last time, same as every time we've done that. I was actually just checking out 3.5 Archive a second ago, watching one of their videos. Definitely felt familiar. Not that I got an issue with that. I definitely don't have any sort of like license or anything on my format or anything. So like, you know, the fact that he's definitely doing very similar content to what I make, whatever. It clearly was inspired by me, and that's cool. I'm actually a little flattered by that. So yeah, the main thing I couldn't see is definitely not as polished, but aside from that, it's about the same as what I do, in all honesty. But yeah, seems like a pretty cool guy too. I kind of like his vibes, so yeah. Fairly similar vibes to what I go for. You know, I'm not trying to be like overly pedantic like previous people that I've seen make videos a long time ago. There was one person that was doing this way before I was, that I was talking about before. I can't show it because of how limiting. I'm only recording with like my webcam, so I can't use actual stream software. Due to the fact that using stream software, it would require, it costs money, and I don't have the money for that. So, yeah, that's kind of the issue. That let me see if I can figure out what the name of the content creator that used to make stuff that they made stuff way back that I wasn't a huge fan. Oh, hey, I'm seeing Rivers RPG channel pop up when I type D&D 3.5. I know them. They're in chat yesterday. What's up, Snagwolf? Hello, everybody. So, yeah, that's kind of cool seeing Rivers' video. I can watch this stuff. I should definitely give that a look because, yeah. I mean, he was just here in chat yesterday. I see him in the comments all the time. Kind of cool to see his face there in that video. So, yeah, apparently Rivers makes stuff. Trident, what's up? What's the math on Salt Baron? I've actually had that come up. So, how I do things when people try and do Salt Baron stuff in 3.5. When people try and break the game using that, that's when I start bringing out real-world logistics and real-world economics. You know, I'll let them start out with having things, you know, work mostly, other than the logistics of, okay, how are you going to actually get the salt into a form where people can use it? How are you going to transport it to the merchants who are buying it? You know, figure all that out, which definitely doable with magic, but, you know, not something that's just free. It does cost a little bit of something. Also, you know, if you're doing that in the middle of town, just creating giant salt pillars, you know, the guards might not look too kindly on that. So you might need to go outside of town or then use teleportation magic to get it back, which more expensive because, you know, casting spells is money, and there is a whole system in D&D for how to like how much spells cost to cast, like you know, and they do get decently expensive. It's goes up quadratically. It's I forget the exact number, but it's the spell level times the caster level, which the caster level, the minimum caster level to cast spells goes up, and then that's times just a flat number, which I think is like 100 or 1,000 or something. I'm not sure the exact number. I'd have to look it up. It's in a player's handbook. Um, but yeah, so adding more spells means the cost should go up, like the cost of you to the player, you the player. Yeah, you could say, well, I could all these spells per day, and it's like, yeah, but you could do all sorts of stuff with those spells and like make a business that way. That's part of the game. So yeah, Salt Baron, I let it work to an extent, but I'm aware that it does break what you can make selling salt versus like the logistics doesn't quite add up, which is when you start bringing in uh, real world economics, and also you start looking more heavily at the logistics. Like, okay, so how are you going to actually, get this from here to there, or you know, do the is there really that much demand for salt in this town? You know what I mean? So yeah. Sup, Janot or Juan. How is it you say your name? I'm so curious because I want to make sure I say it right, especially after how generous you were in the last stream. So yeah, I like saying people's names correctly. Period. But yeah, especially when they're like, do something nice. That makes me want to do it even more. And I just found the old YouTube channel that I used to that was doing 3.5 before me, way back when. Woodwad. I think they do they do other stuff now, but yeah, I never really liked how they did things. Yeah, they were just a little too pedantic for my taste. Jaina, gotcha, Jaina. All right, I'll make sure to say it correctly from now on. Now that I know how it's said. Uh, what cheese made you laugh when you read it the first time? Oof, that's a good question. A lot of cheese, when I see it, I'm just like, it makes me more cringe. Sometimes when I see it, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Because I don't know. For cheese, it kind of depends on what angle I'm looking at it. Sometimes it's like, oh, this is trying to break the game, or other times it's like, ooh, this is trying to break the game because I'm more the player or something, or I'm the DM and I'm using cheese against my players. That can always be fun. Um, I do like to take at least a little bit of an adversarial role against my players, although generally, when setting things up, I try and keep things non-adversarial. But when I'm at the table, I try and be adversarial, unless I see things are going horribly wrong. Because I feel like that's kind of my job. But I try and give myself not quite enough tools to kill my players, even in a serious battle. Um, so, like if I'm planning a hard encounter, I try and like make it so that I don't, because I'm the DM. I can throw whatever I want at them, but I try and like say, okay, I'm going to give myself as like the enemy in this tools that aren't quite enough to do the job, but are close. And then when I actually am running the game, I'm trying to kill my players using the tools that I gave myself, which I deliberately tried to make sure were not going to be quite enough to do the job, or sometimes not even close to enough to do the job, because maybe it's not supposed to be a hard encounter. Yeah. What's the other channel? Oh, the channel I used to not like was Woodwad. Nothing personally against them. They haven't made anything in years. When I first started doing this, like freaking 13 years ago or whatever now, it was so long ago. I think it was back in like 2013 or something that I started this. He was making stuff, and it had been for a few years, and I was the new guy on the scene. And I don't know, I just personally didn't like the way he did things. He was just a little too pedantic and very much the old school kind of way of thinking. Of yeah, so that's just my take on things. I deliberately made a choice to be different and to not do things the same way he did. Um, yeah, that's just my thoughts. Yeah, let's see. I love reading Locate City. I think I've heard of that one. It's certainly an interesting one. Like it helps you find a city. I think. I don't know if it's a specific one, but I'm curious what it is you like about that one. Let's see. I read the Deja Vu spell, then read it again in the same book. Oh, that's actually kind of funny. Uh, what? Something even though I don't know that's not English or a language I'm even capable of reading in any way to pronounce. The city nuke spell. What's the name? I have no idea. I don't even know what those characters are. Uh, uh, Look, city nuke or locate city nuke. Uh, I don't. It's not called city nuke, but I know what you're talking about. There's some cheese that lets you kind of do that. I think it has to do with like snow or something. I forget exactly. D&D's designers put the deja vu in the book twice. That's actually really funny. Um, Kind of makes sense that they would do that. That's a funny joke. That's really cool that they would put it in twice just to like, you know, yeah. I like that. That's pretty funny. Um, Yeah, and I mean, I like that. Like a couple of the splat books are literally items in the game, like the Book of Vile Darkness and the Book of Exalted Deeds. Those are items that are listed in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I think they're what are they called? Artifacts or something. I don't think that's the right word, but yeah. Crap, I almost never use them, which is why I don't remember the name off the top of my head. Give me a sec. DMG. All right, let's pull up my DMG so I can get my naming and all that correct. It's all ready, kind of bookmarked, sort of ish. Not intelligent items. I think it's after that. After curse, I think. Yeah, artifacts. I was right, huh? Yeah. So there are artifacts called the Book of Exalted Deeds and Book of Vile Darkness. So yeah, I think that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah, uh, both on page 277 of the DMG, right there. I didn't show it correctly. Book of Exalted Deeds and Vile Darkness, both right there, the bottom of the page. Yeah, it's not focusing very well, but yeah. They were corrupting artifacts, right? I'm trying to remember. Let's see. Provide spells. Book are unaffected. Once read the book vanishes, and the same character can never benefit. Let's see. I don't think they're corrupting. They just like give you a benefit. Let's see. Gains a +1 inherent bonus on wisdom and 1 experience level. Receiving enough experience to get to midway between the minimum needed for his new higher level. So basically, you go up a level and are halfway to the next level. And Book of Vile Darkness, I think it's the same. It's just with evil characters, and and it's only for good and evil. Neutral characters don't get the benefit, and uh, good and evil and neutral characters who read like from the wrong book, from a book that doesn't match, actually take penalties. So, yeah, sucks that there's not one for neutral, but I don't think there is. But yeah, That's kind of a downside of neutral, but they don't take the full penalty for a lot of stuff. So it is what it is. But yeah, there's definitely some. But yeah, I don't use artifacts much, mostly because like I don't know. I always look at artifact as something that like there's not a lot of. So in order to like throw an artifact at someone, it has to be like I don't know. There has to be like a story reason for it or something. Although one that I do like to throw, I do like to throw the deck. What is it? The deck of many things. I think yeah, that one is that one's fun. I think it's many things because there's the deck of many. There's a few different decks. I just had the page open. I literally just closed it. Right after it was like on the right on the like exact section. I was like a page away from it. Yeah, the deck of many things. That's correct. Yeah, I find it really fun. It's always fun to throw that at the player, see if they actually use it, because it can be extraordinarily bad for them. It could also be like it's a very game breaking item in both ways, like in all senses of the words. It's game breaking because it's completely luck dependent, and if they happen to be very lucky, then and generally not too greedy, then they end up getting like really good stuff and end up you know uh, gaining a lot of benefits that put them way ahead of what they should. Like it's kind of broken a lot of the benefits, but the penalties are arguably a bit worse and slightly more like and evenly likely. Um, so yeah, it's an extreme risk, and if you're getting greedy and like you have to choose how many cards you want before drawing any, and well, if you pick a big number, you have to draw a whole bunch of cards, and the more cards you draw, the higher the certainty that you're going to get some bad stuff. So that can be a real problem. Some of it's less bad than others. Um, like being forced to change your alignment can be really, really bad, depending, or maybe it's not that bad. Um, having a rival appear to like try and kill you, that can be pretty nasty. Um, you know, uh, there can be some, or just being. I think one of them just traps you at the center of the earth, and there's like nothing you can do yourself to get out of it. Like you're gonna have to hope that your party has some high level spells that can save you. Some of it's really bad, but it is what it is. Like some of it requires like wish and miracle to get out of. Um, but if you got a high level party, okay, not the end of the world, but yeah, can kill neutral and good people that it touch. Yeah, yeah. In terms of those artifacts, yeah, they can potentially do that, which is why you don't want to do that. You want to stick with the book that that fits you. And it's worse. Like the book of Exalted Deeds is going to hit an evil character worse than a neutral one. But yeah, and that doesn't include obviously like neutral good. No, because that's neutral on the law chaos axis. So like that doesn't matter. But because the law chaos axis doesn't matter for those two books. It's all about good versus evil. There's two axes. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Um, I don't know. I find the books kind of fun, and it can be fun to throw artifacts at players. I like it sometimes. I like chaos, so the deck of many things is a fun one for me. But yeah, I can be a bit of a chaotic DM. If things aren't too deadly serious, I'm not opposed to like the players being a little goofy and splitting the party just for fun, or doing crazy stupid ideas. As long as it's not too terrible of an idea. Mitch, do you prefer playing good or evil PCs? I like playing good personally. I haven't played evil much. It just doesn't fit my style. I don't know. I don't like being evil. Do you prefer DMing good or evil uh, or DMs? So I prefer good. Like I prefer to play as a good player when I DM. I prefer like a good campaign. So like yeah, I want my players to be good, and the guys I'm throwing at them to be evil. I'm not against doing evil every now and then. That can be fun, but most of the time I want to do good. But it's fun to mix it up and try some evil stuff every now and then. I will say certain things I don't like. Like I'm not huge on rogues. I don't know. The dishonesty is just not something that's. I don't know. It's difficult for me to get behind. I just don't like dishonesty in general. It's just something I don't like. And yeah, I have a home rule that PCs can't be evil, and that's perfectly fine to have a home rule that people can't be evil, or that your players can't be evil. Just make sure you clearly establish that beforehand. Make sure that your players know that hey, this is the world that's going to be going on. Um, yeah. Um, some DMs will say, "Oh, well, it's fine if it's like lawful evil." It's like, okay, I can kind of see that, but like at the same time, it really depends on the DM and the player and the group. Like, if everyone's cool with it, like whatever, who cares? Um, but yeah, I can definitely see, a house rule of hey, no evil. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I've had house rule. I've done that myself in campaigns. I've also had rules where I don't allow crossplay a lot of the time. It's like, hey, play your own gender. Like if you're a male, play male. If you're female, play female. Like trans. Like okay, I get that. Like do that. Like I'm not like anti-trans or anything, but like I just think that hey, if I were to play a girl, and most like straight dudes that play girl, like straight cis dudes that play girls, often don't do a very good job. They're not very realistic. And the same can be said for a lot of like straight cis women playing men. They don't do a very realistic job. Men tend to make a bunch of like slutty whores when they try and play a female character, and women trying to play men try and make like this gallant knight in shining armor out of a freaking a fairy tale, which okay, kind of makes sense, but or like a Lifetime movie. It's like I don't know. I just don't find that they make as realistic characters, and I don't like it personally. But if people don't care, then I don't care either. Like to each their own. I just personally don't like it. Uh, Same rule, yeah. It's to each their own. Yeah, no crossing either. Yeah, and if people don't agree with that, cool. I have no issue if you don't agree. Like your game is your game, my game is my game, and I'll play in groups where the DM allows it. Fine, whatever. And I'm not always against it myself, but personally, I prefer when guys play guys and girls play girls. It just I find people do a better job playing their own gender since it's what they know and it's their lived experience. Uh, I've had many bad players play evil parties from the start. I made the rule no stealing or killing from each other, and it works out fine. Yeah, that's awesome. And honestly, I don't even think that that's if players are decent. It's not even necessarily too terrible to be, doing a little bit of PvP stuff. But you gotta be smart about it. Like, don't be a dick. You know, have it make sense and like, do it in a fun way. It's it can be tricky, and I understand that, which is why people make rules. But you know, I've played games where I've done a little PvP. You should now finding ways to make it make sense, and you know, not bullying people, not like understand it, like trying to just make it fun for everybody. And yeah, at session 0, I also give extra experience for character voices, accents. Yeah, that can always be fun. I've been known to do some of those in the past. Yeah, especially when I DM. Am I great at it? No. One of my favorites is to do like a Scottish accent. You know, I do that kind of stuff. A lot of people do, especially for the dwarves. I don't know why, but it seems like dwarves should have a Scottish accent. At least I think that's a Scottish accent. I don't freaking know. I'm not. I wouldn't exactly say I'm good at it. I'm sure Scottish people out there are like, that's a terrible Scottish accent. Yeah, you're probably right, but it is what it is. It's not like you can do that great of an American accent, probably. So it's all well and good. It's not like it's not like I'm out here like, oh, that's I hate Scotch. No, it's just a fun accent. It's just a funny accent. You know, um, it's done a lot in like movies and stuff. Um, and then for the elves, they often talk with like this very precise method. It's kind of hard to do on command, much harder than doing the more. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a lot harder to do that kind of stuff. I'm much better at the more the cruder accents than the more refined ones. I can do both, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just sort of at my heart, I'm more crude than I am refined. Uh, just being real. Uh, I'm educated and all that stuff. Like I've got a bachelor's degree, but like, in my heart, I'm just a freaking dude. Like, you know what I mean? I don't like try to take myself too seriously or all that. Like, I don't. Yeah. Uh, I like to give out reroll tokens for players. Oh, that's cool. I don't really do that. I don't do much with rerolls. I usually let the dice do the talking fully and don't do any rerolls. And I usually don't fudge dice rolls myself either. Um, if things tend to go bad, they go bad. And the players are just going to have to deal with a stroke of bad luck. Usually it doesn't end up in a TPK. If it ends up in like the party getting really messed up though, then we just spend a few sessions rebuilding. And, maybe I'll take things kind of easy on them for a while they try and rebuild. But, I let the dice fall where they fall. And if it ends up being an absolute blowout for the party and they just destroy way more than they should have, cool. If it ends up being way more of a slog and the party ends up like beaten and battered and maybe they have to retreat mid-battle and, regroup and come back later, that's what it's going to have to be. I let the dice do the talking. And I find it more interesting that way because, I don't know. I'm also pretty big on improv DMing. So I tend to just do minimal prep and go from there. I find it way better that way, but every DM's different. Let's see. Currently DMing a Pathfinder 1 3.5 Gestalt game that allows D&D wiki in every book. Dang, that sounds crazy. I don't do Pathfinder 1 much. I don't have that much experience, but yeah, that sounds insane. Yeah, I imagine things can get absolutely nuts, especially if you allow the wiki. Especially if you're allowing, I don't know if you're not allowing, I haven't looked at the wiki too much with that particular, because if that allows homebrew, that can get crazy real fast, especially depending on the standards of, that site's homebrew. But yeah, real tokens, yeah, that is pretty cool. I agree. Yeah, it's a cool idea. Like I've seen it done in like Baldur's Gate 3 with inspiration. Personally, I rather enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3. I know it's 5e, but it's a good game. I'm actually considering streaming it, possibly soon. We'll see. Probably not while I'm still doing these Q&A live streams, but maybe when I'm done with that, I'll switch to streaming that on Twitch. I don't know. It's a thought. Let's see. I kibosh monsters. I don't mind people playing monsters as long as they stick within the rules. Yeah, I let them use any book or dragon mags from 3.5. That sounds fun, Snagwolf. I would have a lot of fun running in a game like that. Yeah, I would, uh, especially if it's high power, but not like super high power, because I don't like to get too bogged down into heavy optimization because that I don't know that just takes a lot of the fun out of the game. But finding ways to get some cheese in to get fairly high power and do some pretty fun stuff while not being too heavily optimized because you still want to have some fun builds. Yeah, that's fun. That's like where I live. Um, uh, your stomach hurts. Sorry about that. I'm not sure how you say the name. Svenskuma, man, so many. Svendemiscomenter. I think I was close-ish. Let's see. Let's do a ton of my chapter 1 monsters do vile damage. Interesting. IDM by Kit bashing monster powers or kibashing monster powers. And yeah, that's rough. Uh, yeah. Yes, Finn is probably the short version of that. I'm not quite sure what's going on in the middle. I'm understand the beginning and end of that, but yeah, Sven probably the real name. Mentar definitely coming from some fantasy stuff like D&D. Uh, yeah, like Centaur and similar to things like Necromancer and whatnot. So yeah, cool name. And also appreciate you being a channel subscriber, and I think my only channel subscriber at this point. I've had more, but I was inactive for a while, and most people dropped, which understandable. So appreciate you staying a channel member, even though I went inactive for a long time. That's genuinely like super cool. Like, yeah. Um, Thanks. Yeah, no problem. I don't know why it's showing up as like some sort of foreign language on the dashboard. That's weird. Um, yeah, I don't know, but when I hover over, it changes to ab ab ab. Yeah, I don't know what's going on because yeah, I'm seeing like uh, some sort of Asian character off 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 thanks, and then when I hover over, it says AV thanks. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, no problem. Bashing is combining monster power. Kit bashing is combining monster powers like Blink Dog and Displacer Beast. Ooh, interesting. Personally, I prefer doing that in means of like not so much like trying to make a mixed monster, but like throwing multiple monsters together. Like I know one really good combination is to use a giant with a frick, what are they called? Why am I spacing the name? It's like it's like the logo monster of freaking D&D. Um, ah, frick. Why am I forgetting the name of the dang thing? I can't believe I'm forgetting it. Giants with ropers. That's not a bad option either. Hmm, freak. I'm mad at myself for spacing this name because like it's Beholder. Gosh dang it! Why did I? Yeah, Beholders. I'm so mad that I couldn't remember that for a second. But yeah, Beholders so good with giants because the anti magic field that they make doesn't really affect giants much. Because giants mostly get their power from just being giants. Like very little of what makes giants scary comes from magic. They might have like a plus, 1, 2, maybe a +4 weapon, maybe some armor that's got some magic enhancements on it. But aside from that, no, they're not using anything magical whatsoever. They're just big and strong. So yeah, they go really well with beholders because yeah, they just weaken the party significantly, uh, making the giant a much harder fight than it would be uh, if it wasn't for the beholder, without hurting the giant much at all. Let's see. I played a gnome once, and he was killed by a giant. Oof. Uh, Mr. Rico provided a cursed armor that negated my bonus, and I went down. Oof, sorry to hear that. That's rough. And yeah, giants and gnomes, interesting. That they do have some actual beef, like lore wise. There's a feat that I covered not too long ago that is specifically for that. Um, I think it's like taking down the big folk or something like that. Yeah, because yeah, gnomes. I think they even get, or is it halflings? Maybe both. I don't know, but yeah. Um, let's see, trapped, then stand up with a reach, tripped and stand up with a reach club. Yeah, that can definitely be nasty. Um, uh, give giants lycanthropy. That can be nasty too. Lycanthropy, yeah, uh, definitely some good ones there, like werebear, werewolf. Uh, Very strong stuff there. Not great for players, but much better for NPCs because players have to use hit dice plus level adjustment in terms of their effective level, which is really high. Whereas for NPCs, it's just oh freak, trying to remember. It's a different thing. Um, Challenge rating that's added. Yeah, you just use challenge rating, and typically they adding a template adds way less to the challenge rating than it will to your effective character level. So yeah, holy crap, awesome. A giant weregator. Yeah, that could be pretty cool. Um, yeah, I'm not familiar with were gators, but yeah, I know were bears, werewolves. I know there's lots of were creatures. Um, yeah, uh, a were boar is another one of the big ones. Size doesn't matter. It kind of does. It very much does matter sometimes. Um, Now, being big doesn't necessarily mean better, but size does matter. If you've got a melee build where you're trying to bash things with a club, yeah, you want to be bigger because if you've got a barbarian type build, bigger is better. But if you've got a rogue type build or a mage type build, smaller is better. Just kind of depends on what your build is. But size definitely matters. It's just not always in the same ways. The little guys can absolutely beat the big guys. They just have to use different methods to do so. If you're going to be a freaking, uh, halfling barbarian, maybe not the best option because, you're probably going to be suboptimal. You're not going to be hitting as hard, which is kind of your big thing as a barbarian. And you're not going to gain all that much from being small. Whereas, if you're a rogue, you're going to prefer being small. Being big is actually problematic for a rogue. So, yeah. And casters also tend to be better off small because it tends not to matter so much what size they are, except for on defense, and defensively smaller is better, usually. Um, Although they have swamp giants. Yeah, they got just about everything. I'm not super familiar with swamp giants, but yeah. Let's see. I just wear gated a group in a swamp. Nice. Sounds fun. Um, Reach with a jack. The tripper build size does play a factor. Yeah, size plays a factor so much, especially with trip builds with reach, because the bigger you are, the more reach you have with reach weapons. Like, there's different size categories. In fact, I have the DMG right here, which I think is where it has the stuff right in the back that shows like how much reach you have. Yeah, depending on uh, depending on your size. Like, the bigger sizes get more reach. That shows like most of them right there. The light color stuff is reach weapons. The stuff in the middle is your actual character size, and then the stuff in the middle is the standard reach. And you can see as you get bigger, standard reach and reach weapon reach get bigger. So yeah, and also there's a difference between tall and long, which basically just comes down to whether you're standing or not. Taller. The way I look at tall versus long is basically tall characters have twice the vertical space as their long counterparts. Um, so yeah, so like bipedal creatures usually would have that. Um, yeah, that's how I generally look at that one. Um, doesn't often come up, but when you're dealing with 3D combat, that sometimes can, like when you're dealing with flight, especially like once you get to high level and you're dealing with flight a lot, that can matter. There's no real rules on that I've seen, but yeah, I've definitely house ruled some stuff on like vertical reach based off of like size, and tall versus long very much plays a factor in that. Tall gets like twice the long's vertical reach. Um, and also their physical space that they take up. Like a tall creature, I typically rule stands like twice as high as a long creature of the same size category. Um, I don't think that's rules as written. I don't think there's rules as written describing that at all. But that's how I usually do it. Because not everything is in 3.5. It's very detailed. But there's stuff that ain't in there. Let's see. Grease on body grants a bonus of +10 on escape bars. Yep, sounds about right. It also, I'm pretty sure, gives you a -10 if you try and grab someone else. Uh, so, it's got some downsides, and, also probably gives you a penalty on slipping, depending on how and where you're greased up. Your ability to hold a weapon's probably not going to be as good. But yeah, um, know how to totally sad into deck. Know how to totally SAD into decks. Uh, you can't dump stat strength after a few levels, or you can dump the stat strength after a few levels. Yeah, you can. And how to totally SAD into decks. Trying to figure. I haven't heard the term SAD before, so I'm struggling to figure out what you mean by that. Gina, SAD's single ability dependent. Oh, gotcha. Sounds familiar. I think I probably have heard that, but just forgot it. And yeah, single ability dependent. Generally very good if a character is single ability dependent, because then you can just put all your points into that, and it just makes you really good overall. Being dependent on multiple abilities tends to be more problematic, because then it's hard to be good at everything that you need to be good at, which is why certain builds are just really good. Like barbarians tend to be very strong because they're pretty single ability dependent on strength, and then casters a lot of the time are single ability dependent on their primary casting stat, like wizards with intelligence, sorcerers with charisma, pretty much every divine caster with wisdom. So yeah, and then you get the weird ones where they're like multi-ability dependent, and that's like such a problem with a lot of the casters in the Splat books is their multi-ability dependence. Like, yeah, well, their casting for this is wisdom, but their casting for this purpose is charisma. It's like, well, that's not great because now you need to up both of them. It'd be better if it was all just wisdom and you could just dump charisma, or vice versa. Um, yeah, and pretty much every single ability dependent uh, divine caster, with the exception of the archivist, is wisdom based. The archivist is intelligence based. I think they're single ability dependent. They might have some with wisdom. I'm not sure. Sad versus mad. Yeah, sad is way better than mad. Um, my character can activate freedom of movement, and it can last up to 4 rounds. Yeah, that's not bad. Freedom of movement, amazing spell. Um, I'm not sure what the activation time for that is, which is very relevant when it only lasts 4 rounds. 4 rounds isn't bad for combat, but you also have to consider how long it takes to activate that, because you can't really reliably do that ahead of time. Um, so yeah, uh, you can be a halfling barbarian with massive decks that smashes it. Yes, you can absolutely do that. It's a little bit unusual, and like you have to really look into slightly more obscure feats and ability stuff, but 100% doable. And it's not that obscure. It's just more obscure than a strength-based barbarian, which is just standard. You don't really need to look at too much of anything for that. If you want to optimize, sure, yeah, go grab Bear Warrior, grab like Cerulean Arms so that you can actually still hold an axe while in Bear Warrior. Maybe grab Frenzied Berserker, although that has some downsides as a player, much less so as an NPC. If you're a DM, look at Frenzied Berserker for the boss. It can be fun. And it's not that big of a problem for a boss NPC, the downsides, where it can very much be a problem for a player. Yeah. Uh, Freedom Devotion. Yeah, that's the devotion fees are so good, especially for clerics, since they have turn undead, and if you have a moderately high charisma, yeah, that can be really good. You don't really need too much of one. Um, it's just every point of charisma gives you one more turn undead, and then you just get three. So like you don't want to go crazy into putting points into that, but yeah, definitely useful. Dip into Far East. I haven't looked into Far East much, but I've heard there's some good stuff in there. Protection, Devotion, Feed is insane. I've looked at that one. The best one I've seen is Travel Devotion, like being able to, move as a swift action. Very, very nice. It is, only something you can do like, once per, like it's, or I think it only lets you do it for so long. And I think it does have like, it does take like one turn to activate it, but it's very much worth it. If the combat's likely to drag on for a few rounds, because being able to move and full attack is very, very nice. Yeah, Travel Devotion super good for a lot of the combat builds. Casters, not really, but if you're combat focused, yeah, it's really good. Protection Devotion with the War Chief Prestige class and Straight Broken. Interesting. I'm not familiar with that one. I'll look that up because I haven't looked at Protection Devotion recently, and I'm not sure I've ever looked at War Chief. Cloak of Displacement with a Blur Chant for armor combo makes me miss as a DM so much. Oh, that sounds brutal. I'm not super familiar with that. I haven't seen that one in action, so yeah. It's coming up with so much stuff. I've only heard of like some of it. Like I know a lot, and I make sure before I make a video to research stuff. But yeah, I definitely don't know everything about the game. I just, make sure that I just try and be an expert on whatever particular thing I'm talking about while I'm making that video. That's how I'm able to do what I do, really. Um, the effect freedom of movement from travel domain is automatic, and it can be deactivated. Ooh, interesting. Uh, travel freedom of movement and travel domain. Nice, nice. And that also helps with travel devotion. Because, well, sort of. Because you can actually grab travel devotion for free instead of the freedom of movement. Like you can get the travel domain feats, like the devotion feats, like protection devotion, which I'm trying to read here. You can get it for free by being a cleric and having travel or protection domain as an option, and taking protection devotion instead of your protection domain. Um, yeah, not sure. I think you still get the spells, you just don't get the domain bonus. I could be wrong though. I haven't looked at it that closely. Um, Cloak is 20 slash 50% miss. Blur chant is 20% miss chance. Interesting. So I don't know if it's. I'm not sure how those would stack. I don't know if those stack or not. Um, yeah, that's a good question. Let's see. Once per day as an immediate action, you can activate a protective aura. When it's active, you gain a +2 bonus. Blah blah. Bonus to AC, as does everyone within 30 feet. That's pretty good. The bonus increases by +1 for every 4 caster levels you possess. That's pretty good. Max +7. This effect lasts for 1 minute. 1 minute, that's like full combat most of the time. You can gain it. Yeah. Gaining 1 additional daily use. If you have turn rebuke, you can. You gain 1 additional daily use of this feat for each 3 daily turn. And then so it costs 3 for an extra use. All right, that's pretty solid. Being able to I gained +7 AC effect eventually to all allies within 30 feet. That's kind of huge. Um, yeah, protection devotion sounds really good, actually. Protection devotion is insane. War chief prestige class. I have to look up this war chief because I don't think I ever looked at that one. They do stack. Oh, dang, that's good. And yeah, I'm sure you just roll 2 different mischances. Like it's not a 70%. Like you don't add them. You definitely do not add them. But it's having to roll a 50% mischance and then another 20% mischance. That's not bad. Now do the math at level 10. I could try to do the math at 10 at some point. Let's see. Ability boost charisma, devoted bodyguards, tribal friendly, ability boost. I'm not seeing any obvious reason for this war chief. Just by looking at the table. Well, I guess you get more uses of it from the charisma boost of ability boost charisma +2, and plus is that you get like multiple times. Yeah, I guess that's what +6 to charisma, which would give 3 extra uses. Which I guess War Chief would just give you 1 more use of protection devotion, potentially more if you have multiple sources of turn undead. So not bad. You're right, you do not that. Yeah, I know you definitely don't add them. That's not how it ever works in 3.5. There's no way to get 100% protection by stacking partial protections. You can get close to it, but you can never actually get there. Um, you know, it's like, okay, well, you can with 50% protections, multiple of them that stack, they're not going to ever hit 100. That's just, you have to land tails more times, or you have to land heads more times in a row as the attacker before to actually have it work, or you have to land tails more times in a row as the defender to have it fail. You know, not bad. Plus 10 strength, plus 6 charisma, plus the 7 AC to all allies. Dang, that's pretty nice. I wasn't aware it gave all of that, but yeah, that's pretty nice. And then the plus 6 charisma to all allies, especially if that goes to you. I don't know if it does. That would give you another 1 use of protection devotion. Yeah, because it would give you 3 more turn attempts from, an additional plus 3. Just, plus 6 gives an 3 more, gives an additional plus 3 to your charisma bonus, which would give 3 more turn undead attempts, which could be used to trade for 1 more protection from devotion. So yeah, just clarifying the math, but it does work out to exactly 1. But yeah, it's not a bad one. Seems like an okay prestige class. I'm not seeing anything. I mean, if it seems like it's probably a really good support one. It seems not great for a solo class. Like, if you're trying to be a solo adventure, this is pretty underpowered. But then again, so is the bard. The bard's not that great alone, but as part of a party is very good. That's just, certain classes are that way. And you know what? It's a group game. It's not D&D is not a solo game usually. It's a collaborative game. Being a team player is important, and having characters that aren't that great on their own but make everyone else better is really, really strong. Like, holy crap, you can get some good stuff with that kind of attitude, with that like mindset. I've had players really combine stuff in ways to they got really broken. There's the commando stack with that BRB, all good. But like what I was saying with having things stack, in the last game that I ran, I had one player who for a long time was a bard, and he was dropping Dragonfire Inspiration, which was giving huge bonuses. And I even allowed it that he could do both not exactly, but but yeah, he was dropping Dragonfire Inspiration, doing all this damage, giving, big bonuses on their attack, and, even bigger on damage. And it was sound-based damage. It was sonic damage, which is like one of the hardest ones to resist, although there's ways to do that. And I was kind of hitting him with it after a while. The enemy kind of learned. Yeah, he was doing that. And then I had another player that was like playing a summoner, and every single summon got all those bonuses too. So yeah, when you combine like a bard with a summoner, like 2 different players, like one player plays a bard, one player plays a summoner, the amount, like how well those stack together is really good. Like, it's multiplicative, and that's really strong when you can get like multiplicative stacking like that. Because you get like all these extra action economy of these arguably weak summons, but there's a lot of them, and then you throw bardic buffs on them from Dragonfire Inspiration, and it's just like, okay, now these somewhat weak creatures are, they're not that hard to kill, but they're doing solid damage and are pretty decently accurate, and there's a decent number of them. Yeah, you can get some really solid damage that can really mess guys up fast. Yeah, very strong. Mr. Paw has talked a lot about Dwarven Defender. I don't know who this Mr. Paw is, but Dwarven Defender, prestige class, and his AC was huge. Interesting. I've looked at Dwarven Defender as well in the past, and I used to think it was really strong. As I've got more experience, I've realized it's not the best. Like, it's great for getting a high AC, sure, but there's a lot more to the game than just having a really high AC. Yeah, Dwarven Defender with a Tower Shield, grab whatchamajigger, you grab Stone Plate Armor or Interlocking Plate. Both of them are pretty good, which are both better than a standard full plate. Um, yeah, Interlocking Plate can. They're both extremely powerful on a Dwarven Defender. Like the Interlocking Plate, uh, it requires that you not move more than 5 feet per turn in order to gain the extra benefits of it. Um, Otherwise, I think it's slightly worse than a full plate, or maybe the exact same. I can't remember. Um, but it gives even better AC if you're not moving. But Dwarven Defenders can't move in order to like get their full benefits. So yeah, there's some really good stuff with that, and there's some like feats that can help with that as well. Um, like I know there's a feat that makes it so you literally can't be moved. It's got some downsides to it, but there is a feat that makes it literally impossible to move you even by magic, um, which has downsides as well. You can't move either, but like even voluntarily. But well, I guess you can, but it like breaks everything. Uh, yeah. Hey Mitch, look at this stupid combo. Uh, See, a summoner with the right build can summon a standard action instead of a full round. Yeah, absolutely. And then you take extra stuff to get extra hit points, extra. Um, so you get like extra con, extra strength. That's like 1 feat to make all your summons have that. And then you can make them all show up with like a stinking cloud around them, which is kind of doesn't do much, but it's kind of not. It can be beneficial. Um, yeah, there's some good stuff. Fighter 1, Paladin 2. I'm seeing why Paladin 2. War Chief 10, Dread Commander 5. Not super familiar with Dread Commando. Protection Devotion, feat, healing belts, take leadership, race, lesser ASMR, plus 2. So I see what you're doing. A lot of charisma to gain really high bonuses on all your saves from the 2 levels of Paladin. I'm not quite sure what Dread Chief and War Commando add. The Fighter, I'm imagining that's just to get access to what would that get access to? Tower Shield and an extra feat. You don't gain a whole lot from it. Paladin already gets all the weapons and armor of the fighter for the most part, other than tower shields. Pretty sure. Pretty sure they get all the martial weapon proficiencies and full weapon proficiency and armor. Yeah. So I don't know what fighter's adding. Not much, really. You could probably drop that, in all honesty. Mr. Pod used to play D&D with us. Interesting. Okay. I don't know who this person is. I don't know if that's just like a guy you know or if it's like a YouTuber. I don't know who they are, but yeah. Just going to look it up, see if anything pops up. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything come up. So I just type D&D Mr. Paw. Probably just someone you know. It's my guess. If it's someone who's like, somewhat famous, I don't know. And so, and I can't find him when looking. Anyways, yeah, I don't know why fighter on that build. I'm really struggling to see what the whole point of fighter is. Level adjustment plus 0, yeah, makes sense. Template, magic blooded plus 2 charisma, wisdom, level adjustment, get all charisma to saves. Yep. 18 charisma to start, 22 level 1, 4 to 26 by leveling, plus 6 charisma from each class AC, plus 5 initiative, so much. Plus 10 strength to all stats, all saves, leadership feat. Well, leadership's great. Attack and especially with such high charisma. Constitution-based cohort that gets all optimized for AC and HP. That's level 16. Given the PRC bodyguard ability to give you points of AC every round, staggering AC. Yeah, but having staggering AC isn't necessarily. There's things besides that. You can still be tripped, for instance. Like all the stuff you're saying, yeah, there's some really good stuff there. Really high AC, really high saves. Okay, the most standard ways of like doing things to people, you've got pretty well blocked. But how are you going to be able to handle a bull rush? How are you going to be able to handle being tripped? You know, how are you going to be able to handle an overrun? You know, things like that. Probably not going to be the strongest at a lot of those. Or how are you going to be able to handle a grapple? That one will probably be decent, but not amazing. But a lot of the others, maybe not. There's probably ways around certain things. Also, how well can you handle a touch attack? Probably not very great with a build like that. You know, these kind of builds tend to be really easy to hit with touch attacks. So there's definitely weaknesses to these. Like, I understand what you're saying, but they're not as unbeatable. Like, they're not completely infallible. There's some very glaring weaknesses to them, like touch attacks. Given the PRC, already heard that one. So yeah, that one can be very difficult to get past. Yes, there's ways to add charisma to your saves and to your AC, as well as even to your touch attack. Although the one to add it to your touch attack is, I think, 2 levels of Wilder, which is weird. Yeah, weird that Wilder is the way to grab that one. But, you know, and it doesn't fit very well on those. So, you know, you have to take like 2 levels of a casting psionic, or like a psionics class that's like, you know, the psionic sorcerer. I don't know. It's a weird one for that. I wonder if a Raven familiar can activate a magic object, possibly voice activated. Potentially. It could be great to use a level 0 spell to write letters in a book, cast speak with animals. I don't think these get that by default. I know Ravens, like IRL, are capable of mimicking human speech and are decently intelligent, but the rules is written for the Raven. I don't think they have that ability. I mean, it makes sense. I get it. Trust me, I know actual Ravens can do that. I watched a very interesting Reddit video. Yeah, you know those videos where like people are reading Reddit stories. I watched a very interesting one from this guy's called Piano Man Has No Plan, and he did a story recently where this like 9-year-old girl trained this random raven to imitate her dad's voice, and actually trained the raven to like manipulate the dog into stealing stuff and like moving it around. Like, it was absolutely an insane story. Ravens are crazy. And the fact that a 9-year-old girl like who had like manipulated this raven into doing it is also insane. It shows just how smart kids that age can be. People often forget how smart like kids around that age can be. Like, kids like around 10-ish, pretty smart, way smarter than most people give them credit. Not so great common sense, tend to not think through consequences very well, but they don't have a great concept of that, but they're pretty clever. Let's see. Do you take the Greenbound feat with your summoner? Let's see. Greenbound is too powerful for PCs. I'm not super familiar with Greenbound. Interesting that you say it's too powerful for PCs. That makes me very curious. Greenbound. Looks like it's a template. Armor class attack, full attack damage. Oh, okay, I see what the problem is. Why it's too bad. +8 level adjustment. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. And let's see. Advancement, alignment, treasure, challenge rating, environment, skills, abilities, special qualities, special attacks, damage, full attack. So no hit dice, which is good, but a +8 hit, but +8 level adjustment. That's really, really high. So I see what you mean about it being too powerful for PCs. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely use it as a PC. I would definitely allow it. I haven't looked at how good it is, but yeah, if it's got a +8 level adjustment, probably not good enough to justify taking on most builds. So yeah, it's a feat that gives your summoners that template. Wait, what? Your summons that template? Let me look this up again. Yeah, I didn't see that when I looked it up, but green. Oh, there's a feat as well. Okay, feat. You are learned in long forgotten manner summoning. Prereq's ability to cast any summon nature's ally spell. That's a really low prereq. All animals that you summon using Summoner's Nature Ally acquire the Greenbound template for as long as the summoning spell lasts. Interesting. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty strong one. And yeah, allowing that, I mean, I can't imagine it's too strong, is it? Let's see, skills. So I'm just looking through to see if it damage reduction. That's kind of high. That's kind of good. Fast healing. Okay, so it's got a fast healing, but it's different than a lot of them. So it's a less good fast healing. Yeah, it's not like a lot of fast healings where it's not like a regeneration. It's just literally a fast healing that only works while they're conscious. I mean, crowds just greenbound creature gains resistance. Yeah, it's not too broken for like the feat itself. Like having this on having this template on a player, yeah, it'd be really strong, but it's got a +8. So yeah, I don't see any real issues with it. Doesn't summon natures dip off in doesn't summon nature dip off in DPS. I mean, probably. It's hard to say. I mean, basically, you're just summoning stronger and stronger monsters. Um, my favorite summon nature. I have a character that casts summon nature's ally extremely regularly that I play in the one game I'm at. He only has summon nature's ally 1, and he generally only uses it to summon the same thing every time, a celestial monkey. And that celestial monkey, uh, he is basically he's often used to test for traps. I'll summon a celestial monkey. It's like, I don't know if this door is trapped. Everyone stand back. Cast celestial, summon nature's ally, summon a celestial monkey. Hey monkey, test the door. We're gonna stand over here. You know, it works. Oh, I don't know if this drink is poison. Hey monkey, take a sip of it. You know, that's how I use that one. It's fun. I haven't used it much outside of that, but yeah. Let's see. You can also summon plenty of combat stuff. I've just been using the first level one to summon monkeys to, you know, do stuff that I don't want, or I'll summon them somewhere that I want to be, and then I'll switch places with them, leaving the monkey trap behind where I was. So I'll use it like that in terms in combination with what's the spell called? Mm, why am I spacing the name? Uh, but I'll use it in order to get where I need to go. I told my DM that I will not hang out with my Raven familiar. Uh, he will be with other people, or at least my dog companion. Fun fact: Raven's touch attack will be 12 or thereabout and 44 HP. 44 HP, which means you have 88 or 89 HP as your what was it, sorcerer? You said, because that's just how that works. They have half your HP rounded down. You said you got your bachelor's degree. Where from? Which degree? It's electrical engineering. I got it from the local state college. So yeah, that's love the feat for a summoner. Yeah, that is a good feat for a summoner. There's a lot of good summoner feats, but yeah, that one's really strong. Definitely gonna have to be one that I keep in mind for summoners going forward, because yeah, really good. And summoners, very very strong. Not on their own super great, but if you have one player that's a summoner and another player that is a bard, that gets really 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 good. Having characters like, yeah, it's multiplicative the way that those stack. So yeah, really good. Um, yeah, it's things like support characters and summoners go very, very well together. And if you have multiple different types of support characters, that's also super great. Because if you like different types of stuff that all stack in different ways, like you have your bard giving his stuff, and then you have someone else who's casting like all these other buff spells on the party, and having that combined with like someone who's just summoning just a bunch of stuff, it can get really good really fast. And then you just have like a couple of party members that are just like heavy hitters and stuff, to like just break through and do big damage when they need to do big damage. It can make for a really strong party. Make it that you summon, and summons are the same one every time. So if you summon a monkey every time, it would be the same monkey. So if you keep getting it killed, it would start just liking you. I don't imagine the monkey likes me very much, but I summon him, and then he does what he's told. I don't expect him to like me. He's trap bait. And also he's used for whatchamajigger. What baleful transposition. I'll combine summoning him with that just to have him like help me get out of a situation. I was like, oh, there's I'm over here, and like there's some guards here, and then like there's a big wall here, and I want to get over here. It's like, okay, summon monkey on top of the wall, switch places with him, and then jump down. You know what I mean? Like, it's a strategy, and it works. I did that one a couple months back in a game. I really need to get in more games, though. So, yeah. I don't know. I just find summoning the monkey very fun way to deal with traps. It's one way to deal with them. We also have a rogue in the party. I'll generally let the rogue handle things if she's there, but if she's not, I got my monkey. The last thing I did with the monkey last week when we played, I used him in a very interesting way. He was we were looking through a bunch of windows to try and figure out who had cast a spell. And I didn't want to be like the creep that's looking through a bunch of windows. That's weird. So I summon a monkey, and then I just kind of casually walk by while the monkey tries to look through the windows, and it's just kind of being loud and obnoxious, because it's the monkey. He can be obnoxious and creepy. I don't care. It ain't me who's doing it, you know. Let's see. Mr. Rico bought a pendant for 1,500, and it let him summon a very big monster that lasted for several rounds, and it protects us quite effectively. Nice. That's pretty cool. Wish I could be a player forever DM here. Yeah. I'm a bit of a forever DM. I don't mind it so much, but I do like to play in games every now and then. It's a lot of work setting up games. I'm not DMing anything at the moment. I've been planning on starting for a while. I just haven't been in the best place mentally, so it is what it is. I'm getting there. Starting doing these streams is actually kind of a step towards getting into a place where I can start doing more stuff. So yeah, hoping to start doing some more games. Maybe run a pay-to-play game, like a paid DM gaming. Been saying this for a few months now, but yeah, that's the plan. Haven't really put much work into it yet. Need to just get some players, and then yeah, I don't plan on going too crazy with prep though. I already have the basic idea, so yeah, it shouldn't take too long to actually get it set up. Once I actually do, getting the group and players is kind of the main thing. But yeah, I've also kind of want to do some other like just more fun, casual stuff too. One thing I've wanted to do for a long time is I just don't know if I have enough clout yet. Is to get some of you guys, like specifically you guys who are actually showing up to chat, because you're the people who are going to be more reliable for something like this, who would agree to come on webcam and be in a game on Twitch where I run a game and you're a player in the game, and like, you agree that I get to use, your likeness for my videos and stuff, like, and that, yeah, it's like you get to play for free, and in exchange, I get to make content using you. I don't know how many people would agree to that. I don't expect jack crap. Which is why I don't know if I have enough clout for that. But because if someone like Moist Critical came out and said something like that, yeah, there's going to be people who will agree to let them use their likeness for content. He's going to have no problem. He's going to have a hard time finding good people and filtering it, but he'll find good people. There's absolutely solid people that would be willing to do that for him. He could even get big YouTubers to agree to it. But because he's a big deal, he could easily get guys like Ludwig and all his friends, like Ludwig and Doug, and yeah, that would be easy for Charlie to pull off. But I ain't Charlie. I'm just me. I got 2,500 subscribers. That ain't nothing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have enough fans that would be willing to help out with that. Yeah, I could probably find a few people, but I don't know if I'd have enough for a game. I prefer to play too. I do like to play. I prefer DM actually, but I like to play every now and then. I'm here, but not chatting. All great, Kobanaiser. No issue with lurkers at all. Like, I think chatters are great. It helps keep the stream engaging, but lurkers are the backbone of a stream. They're the ones who help get the stream growing. They just have it up in the background, and that helps. Things hit the algorithm. Chatters, there's a much smaller percentage of things. They're typically, they're the ones creating the engagement and making the content itself better. But lurkers are very, very important for algorithmic success. Most people are lurkers. That's something a lot of people don't realize. Let's see. I have been running the same homebrew world for 28 years now, on and off. Dang, that's a long time. Yeah, I can't say that. I didn't even know what D&D was 28 years ago. Well, I've probably heard of it. I was 10. So I've probably heard of it. Definitely never played it. I was 18 when I first started playing. I was maybe 16 or 17 when I first heard of the game. It was late years in high school when I first got introduced to this. And it wasn't for a few years later that I actually really started playing with any seriousness. I mean, I kind of casually did back then, but the first like serious games where I was playing regularly was like 2009. So, and I was like 20, yeah, I was 20, almost 21 when I first started playing seriously. It's like a month before my 21st birthday. So, yeah. Let's see. We're a bunch of old timers. You're 63. Fair enough. Yeah, I do have an older audience. I'm aware of that. Uh, yeah. Some people are younger, but yeah, I don't have a lot of kids playing that. Like I have a decent number of kids that watch the videos, but the people that are like engaging regularly tend to be older, which is probably good. Like I haven't really looked to see like how good my CPM is. Like it's probably decent though, because yeah, I mean, uh, you know, guys who are a bit older and potentially have high disposable incomes, because a lot of nerdy older guys have high disposable incomes. That's just what makes advertisers more likely to pay money. That's just how that works. Advertisers aren't going to pay as much to have some 12-year-old watch as they will to have some 50, 60-year-old watch, because that 12-year-old doesn't have a job, and therefore he doesn't have that much spending power. Whereas a 50, 60-year-old, especially a nerdy guy on a nerdy type channel, yeah, you guys are known to drop big money on nerdy hobbies. I would be too if I wasn't broke. I absolutely would be. And I don't know your guys' situations. Maybe you're also broke. I don't freaking know, and I don't really care. But I just know that's how, that's just how YouTube works. As a YouTuber, I have my YouTube brain on like all the time. Just kind of how it works. It's 5 a.m. here, so I better close my eyes. Good night. All good. It's all good, Sven. It's great hanging out with you, and definitely appreciate the fact that you've been like a channel member for like forever, even when I wasn't. Like you signed up like almost as soon as I, got my channel monetized and could have members. So pretty shortly after my last milestone. And you've held on to that like this whole time. And, even like when I wasn't really making content for a couple of years, yeah, I appreciate that. That actually means a lot. The fact that you were, giving me like, I think it's 70% of memberships I get. So, the fact that I was getting like $1 a month from you for like years for like basically doing nothing, that means a lot. That you would actually stick around and support that. Because I do make stuff sometimes, but yeah, the fact that you were even when I wasn't doing anything, like that's crazy, and I definitely do not expect anyone to do that, but you did, which is awesome, and I genuinely appreciate that. And yeah, that does mean a lot. I don't expect really anything really. Do I kind of expect people to show up for these? Yeah, sort of, but that's just because people have in the past. But did I ever expect this channel to grow as much as it? No, things just sort of happen. Like, I make videos, people seem to like them. I try and do good content and all that. I hit burnout multiple times throughout my 13-year career because, when you're not making a lot of money from it and you're putting in work, it makes burnout real easy, even when making the stuff is kind of fun, because it does take effort, and bills are real. It's been a real. It is what it is. I don't need to get into that with you guys. I don't have an issue with it, but I'm not going to like bum you guys out. I'm not like trying to beg for money or any of that crap. I think that's kind of messed up for people to do that, but I don't think it's super messed up when you're small like me. Like big creators, yeah, obviously, because they don't need it. But like, it's still like, I don't know, it's just bad taste. Yeah, anyways, here's some cheese I found in the Drow of the Underdark, page 58. Drow druid can wild shape into a monstrous scorpion and harvest poison they make all day long. That is kind of nice, especially if it's a high save, like if they can like have ways to buff that save themselves, by increasing their Constitution score, I think is usually what the save is based off of for making them. So if you have ways to like buff that, like yourself, so that the save's even higher, like you know what I mean. Like if you can buff your Constitution when you wild shape, so that your wild shape's poison's DC is higher. Yeah, that's really really good. And the fact that you can get as much as you want, yeah, pretty nice. Not just to sell, that can be problematic, but like just having that to just coach your weapons for free, pretty much, pretty cool. Um, we all really appreciate what you, yeah, and I'm grateful that like I appreciate you guys for like showing up and stuff. Like, yeah, uh, and I enjoy making this stuff. Like I made this stuff because I love D&D 3.5, and I don't know, I kind of started this on a whim just because I thought, oh yeah, making YouTube videos would be cool. And were they good at first? No. I personally look back at my early stuff and I'm just like, oh man, this was so bad. It's so unwatchable. Um, I really am thinking of trying to remake a lot of the original stuff, because like my video on the like a lot of my old stuff, especially like my old D&D stuff, was the fighter, the wizard, the druid, the sorcerer, the core classes from the player's handbook. Maybe I should remake those, because they get a lot of views, because yeah, obviously they do, not be and almost certainly it's not because the quality. It's probably almost certainly in spite of the quality, because the quality is bad. And yeah, like the method that I used to record those was horrible. It was literally, I had an old laptop, and I'd have the laptop sitting on my lap. The webcam was sitting on there, so I had to stay still in order to keep the camera still. And yeah, it was a whole thing, which isn't a huge issue for me to stay still. That's actually pretty easy for me to do. I'm better at it than most people, which is a little bit problematic for me with like live streaming, because I'm not that animated. Um, I can be, sitting and talking, and I haven't moved for minutes. And other than my jaw going up and down, like, there's not a whole lot of motion coming from me a lot of the time. So that is a thing. But anyways, with the camera, it wasn't a huge issue. But yeah, the quality was not good. I also wasn't recording separately. YouTube used to have a feature that they got rid of because it produced low quality videos. At least I assume that's why they did, where you could like upload, like you could record as you upload, or like upload as you record, which was an interesting thing. And sometimes I would get internet issues. Actually, I get them a lot, and then I'd have to restart the video. So I'd have to restart the video so many times a lot of the time, which did actually help make the videos better, because every time I do it, it's like, oh, well, that take's gone because I had an issue. Great. So I have to redo the whole thing. Let's do another take. And, it would generally be a better take, because, I had those rehearsals, which weren't planned to be rehearsals, but they were because stuff happened. And then I just kind of rush through the content a little bit faster, which generally makes for a better video if it's not too rushed. Because, if you're umming and on and going too slow, that's just wasting your viewers' time, and then people click off. But anyways, I cannot stand still to save my life. Fair enough. Like, I get that. Like, when I'm standing, I can't really stay still. When I'm sitting, it's pretty easy for me. I got ADHD, which is like why that's a thing for me. I also got autism, just personal stuff. I don't mind sharing it. So that's my situation. My ADHD's one where it's more of the internal version, so I'm not bouncing off the walls usually. Although that has happened when I get too much sleep. Like when I was a teenager, if I got too much sleep, I was bouncing off the walls for the day. And I actually got a lot done those days. I was like ultra productive. It was kind of crazy. It was kind of weird. But anyways, usually that's not the case with me. Only happened like 2 or 3 times in school. Yeah, um, just kind of things. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. My experience with making videos has actually helped in a lot of ways because it really forced me to just sit down and get all my thoughts out and like, yeah, it's really helped with like my ability to live stream a lot. And yeah, because my videos for a long time they were not edited at all. They were just solid takes. I would just record and upload, and there was originally no editing, and then there started to be minimal editing. Now there's a decent amount of editing. I'm starting to get into that because I do want to try and produce more polished videos. They take a lot longer to make, though. I'll tell you that much. And I haven't seen a huge gain from it, but I don't know. I still kind of like the idea of making the video better if I'm going to make it. Um, yeah, hopefully you guys appreciate that. All like the extra work that I put into like make the newer videos better. I really need to work on my sound quality though. I know that. Um, Restless Leg Syndrome, fair enough. 26 years here, 3.0 came out in 2000. It did. It did indeed. That makes me feel old. Uh, and I'm sure, like, we can all kind of relate to that a little bit. Yeah, I didn't start playing with 3.0. 3.5 was already out by the time I started playing. I started playing in '06. Um, my books, I got all of them all at once just from the local music slash nerd store, small town. So, yeah, small towns were different back then. They were they were different. Um, they were so different than like a big city. They still kind of are, but like you know, internet speeds were horrible. We didn't get internet at all. Like, eh, yeah, in '06, smartphones didn't exist where I was from because I was in a small town. Yeah, I heard about iPhones on TV. No one had one. You couldn't have one where I lived. Wasn't an option. iPhones 1, 2, and I think maybe 3, I can't remember, were exclusive to AT&T. We didn't have AT&T. Wasn't an option. Like AT&T wasn't a store. There wasn't an AT&T provider, and they didn't have coverage where we were at. So the iPhone really wasn't an option for us. Then all of a sudden that changed in like '06 or something, and suddenly everyone like it went from nobody has iPhones to everyone has iPhones overnight. It was absolutely insane. So yeah, smartphones was a weird one for me. I lived off of whatchamajigger. Uh, I lived off of the Rules Compendium. That book I swore by in my early days because I needed it. Um, yeah, it was an absolute necessity back in the day, the Rules Compendium, because like trying to figure out how does turning work, what are the rules for that, what are the rules like. I can't. You couldn't just Google stuff back then. Like now you can, and that's what I do. But you had to like know where to find it in the book, and that was tricky. The player's handbook is not well laid out in terms of where where rules for things are. Um, yeah, you kind of really have to dig around. The rules compendium really helped, like clarify, like if you need to figure out what the rules were fast, rules compendium. Yeah, I'm aware that it has its issues, but it was necessary if you wanted to play D&D in the late 2000s in a small town like me. Um, let's see, I started in 2E, but thought 3.0 starter packs. Then 3.5 came out like a year later. Fair. Smartphones equals algorithmic tracking and personality manipulation device. Yep, that's true. Um, the younger generations, like Gen Alpha, they have a harder time understanding these things because, like, they don't know what a world without them looks like. Gen Z kind of does because, I mean, when they were kids, smartphones weren't a thing really. Smartphones didn't really come out till they were teens. So like they don't really know the world without the internet, but they do know a world without social media from their childhood. Sort of like for me, like a world without maps. I remember my parents looking up maps to get where they were going. Um, and when I first started driving, I was using freaking Tom Toms and all that and Garmin's and stuff. Like now, nobody uses that anymore because it's all on your phone. But it wasn't when I started driving. You had to get a separate device for that. Either that or you had to like go old school with a map. Um, now that I'm older, I just Google Maps everything, but that wasn't an option. Like, yeah, you could Google Maps ahead of time, but you had to like print that out or remember it. Like you had to like physically print out your Google Maps stuff when I was like when I was young, if you wanted to like use that to go somewhere. Things are different, man. Uh, I go back to White Book. I don't know that one before that. Man, I don't go back that far. 35 is where I started, which is part of why like it's my thing. But I have heard 35 is kind of where things really like optimized, and then things like started taking a different turn after 35. Like like the old systems of D&D, they were more complicated in a lot of ways. 35 did simplify things, but it also like added complexity to the game. So you weren't just like making stuff up as much because just wasn't rules for everything. I don't think with like, I don't know about AD&D and those, but I know like the original one, I'm pretty sure did not have rules for everything. And a lot of it, you just kind of had to make up stuff because and then 5e kind of, it simplified things, but it also went back to you have to make things up a lot of the time because there's not rules for everything. 3.5 is like, I don't know, it's just got a much harder physics system, like the mechanics of 3.5 is it's a much harder system. And I like that. I don't really like soft mechanics because it's harder. Like I understand the benefits of it, but if you're a strategist like I am, soft mechanics don't work as well for strategy-minded games. And if you're a strategist and you're a strategic player, you want hard mechanics because then there's hard rules and both you and the DM are on the same page and you can, use the system to do what you want and it's going to work. And you're not going to have the DM be like, well, actually, that's not how it works in my system. No, like, I mean, sometimes maybe you missed a rule or something and it's like, dang, okay, fine. But, it's more of a pain in, like, when the DM says, well, actually, no, that's not how the rule works. That's frustrating, but it's a different kind of frustrating than, well, actually, I don't do it that way. I'm doing it this way. It's like, well, okay, well, I didn't know that. I had no way of knowing that. Like the only way I could have known that was to ask you, and that would have defeated the purpose because, part of, being a strategist is to blindside your DM so that they don't see it coming and can't take actions against it because the DM probably will net a game to some extent. Everyone does. So, yeah. Too many arguments over DM calls into it. See, exactly. That's why I like 3.5. Like, there's hard official rules. Having a hard system makes it so that you don't really need a judge. You can just say, the rules are this, boom. And then people can be a lot more satisfied. I don't know. It's just way more satisfying when there's hard rules to just say, this is how it is. Here's what it is. Everyone can see what the rules are. It's more black and white. It's just more transparent than, the wishy-washy stuff that you had in the older systems, and those ones, to be fair, it was because the system was new and they hadn't had the time to flesh everything out yet. 3.5 is as hard of a rule system because of its predecessors, as something of playtesters. The original D&D had almost no playtesting. I mean, sure it had some, but like the playtesting was pretty minimal for the first edition of D&D. And then later systems had more and more because they also had the older editions to see, well, this didn't work. this did work. Let's utilize these pieces of things that work. And then 3.5, the fact that it's a 0.5 edition, 3.0 was literally a playtest. It was literally an open playtest for everybody. They looked at 3, and it was designed to be that way. They released 3.0 with the intention of making 3.5 later, I'm pretty sure. And they looked at how people were actually playing 3.0 and used that to make 3.5, which was a great way to do it. Is it perfectly balanced? No, not even close. But, there was an attempt, and it at least has a nice hard rule system, and it's definitely an improvement over 3.0. So, yeah. Agree. That's why I dislike the softer Darrington Press direction. I'm not familiar with Darrington Press, but yeah, I don't like Snap Right. That was all released. I'm not as in the weeds of like who did what and all that, but yeah. I know 4E was, no one liked 4E. They tried, Hasbro stepped in and was like, we need to make this more like the rest of our board games. We need to gamify this a little more, make it more like Monopoly. And, just like, okay, I see what you're doing there. Not a great direction. The people spoke out. They didn't like it. No one liked 4E. Yeah, okay, some people did, but I've met people who swear by it. But okay, maybe not people. It was one guy, but I have met a 4E fan, but not very much. But I talked to him briefly. Anyways, but yeah, that's why Pathfinder came out, was because a lot of the guys who made 3.5, they weren't happy with the direction that Wizards was taking Dungeons and Dragons, so they made Pathfinder. They left and they made Pathfinder. That's what happened. That's literally the creation of Pathfinder. And then Pathfinder 2E, unfortunately, was them saying, hey, actually 5E wasn't bad. Let's make Pathfinder 2E and the image of D&D 5E, which I'm like, okay, I get why you do that. And I'm not a 5E hater. I don't think it's a terrible system. It's not. Like, it's a good system. And I think for a lot of people, it's quite possibly a better system than 3.5. For me, no, absolutely not. But I'm autistic. I got my neurodivergent brain that likes all these heavy rule crunching and dealing with numbers and stuff. And I know a lot of you guys, I don't know if you're autistic or not, but I know you're also like that same kind of stuff. And that's why we like 3.5. It's a bit of a niche game, but we like it. And it's a more technical game. Not everyone likes that. I do. You guys do. A lot of people do. And yeah, but 5e, it's just got more broad appeal, and I get that. I don't have an issue with it. It's not a bad game, and I can see why Wizards is going in that direction. I think it'd be great if they made, a competing system that was like 3.5. Like if they, reinvested into 3.5. I know they did in the 4E days with the reprints, reprinting 5 books of Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual, Spell Compendium, and Magic Item Compendium are the 5 books that got reprints. I think it was in like 2013, I want to say. Yeah, that was in the 4E days, and when Pathfinder was beating D&D. So I see why they decided to go back and reprint those. But it's highly unlikely they're going to do it again. It just doesn't make sense for them. It is what it is. Yeah. Let's see. I can't watch other people play D&D. I don't know why I just can't. Fair enough. I kind of enjoy it. Like I've watched, I haven't watched Critical Role really, but I've watched on YouTube back when they still had them for at least the first part of the campaign for Dimension 20 with Brendan Lee Mulligan. I watched the first half of their first 2 campaigns because they were free on YouTube. But I don't know. I wasn't about to pay for Dropout to actually watch the rest of it. So yeah. I enjoyed it, and I know it's 5e, but Brendan Lee Mulligan is a very good DM. Probably the second best DM that I've seen out there after Matthew Mercer. But yeah, uh, very good stuff. Let's see. But I can understand why you can't watch it. I've even watched Doug play D&D. That's actually very fun and chaotic. Uh, and very simplified. It's not even 5e. It's like his own like extra simplified D&D with AI players. It's crazy. Anyways, the crunchy mechanics of 3.5 make it better for solo play. Less things for Mythic to um, adjudicate, make things slightly faster. Yeah, I agree. Solo plays, I mean, not that fun typically, but yeah, if you wanted to make like a solo game, like Baldur's Gate, like Baldur's Gate 2 was really fun. Like it's an old game. Same with Baldur's Gate 1. Like those were fun games, and I think they were based off of like I think one of them was, I don't know if they're 3.5 or not, but they were definitely not 5e. Uh, yeah, great games, and yeah, having like a solo game like a Baldur's Gate based off of 3.5 would be great. Will that ever happen? No, unless one or two unless maybe 2 was 3.5. I don't know. I'm guessing it wasn't. I think it was too old for that, or I think the original was too old for three to be 3.0 or 3.5. 2 might have. I don't know. I haven't looked at it too closely, but I really should. Anyways, yeah, through like a game like that that's 3.5 base would be amazing. I thought about maybe making my own, but it'd have to be free to play because like licensing reasons and all that, and it's a lot of work. So yeah. Um, let's see. Let's see where was at. Uh, Find new things. Yeah, it's through the stand 3.5. Rules are important. I'm systematic in technical advice. I'm systematic. That's awesome. I'm trying to figure out where I left on chat. As always, Dying Press is the Critical Role RPG with Chris Perkins. Gotcha. I haven't seen that one. I should definitely look into some more of that. Faster rules are important. I find new things to this day. I watched Legends of Avarice. Nice. I did watch the shorts. Same here, Snag. I liked early Chris Perkins live. It was at PAX. I haven't been to any convention. Well, I've been to like one local convention, but I haven't been to any aside from that, just because there aren't many locally, and I can't afford to go to conventions. It's just too expensive. As a kid, I never went to. Like, it's always been a dream for me to go to them, but it's never been. It hasn't really been a reality. I went to one once, and that was really cool. I got to meet a couple of voice actors from one that I do. Got some autographs on my One Piece collection, so that was pretty cool. So I am an anime fan. I'm not sure how many anime fans are here. I personally love it, but I know there's limited overlap, especially because with 3.5, since I know there's a lot of you guys tend to be even older than I am, and there's less anime fans. There's not too many anime fans older than me. Anime was still really niche when you guys were growing up. It didn't start becoming mainstream till I was in middle school. So like my generation's kind of the earliest. Like older millennials and then like Gen X, they don't see many anime fans there. It's mostly just younger millennials or like the middle of millennials, which is me. I'm born in '88, like smack dab in the middle of that. And then like Gen Z and Gen Alpha love anime. But yeah, it was so niche for like so long. It wasn't until DBZ hit in like '99 when, like, I mean, DBZ is a lot older than that, but it didn't hit the US in the English dub until '99, when Funimation came out with Chris Sabat doing half the voices. Yeah, it was the first anime done well that was actually like dubbed well and brought to America. Well, I guess Sailor Moon before that, but that was more for girls. and that was only like a year or two before. I mean, there were some before, but like Speed Racer wasn't dubbed well. It wasn't. The dubbing sucks. Everyone knows that. I'm sure you all know, Speed Racer had horrible dubbing. Just did. Uh, yeah, anime was just super niche. Um, Acquisitions Incorporated, One Punch Man. Yeah, there's some great stuff. I love anime. I haven't seen Acquisitions Incorporated. It sounds vaguely familiar. One Punch Man. I watched season 1. Season 2, I got a little into, but I don't know. It wasn't as good. But yeah, season 1 was great. Personally, I think it could have and should have ended after season 1, but season 2 wasn't bad. Um, but yeah, it's some great stuff. Love One Piece. Love Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach. Looking forward to Thousand Year Blood War doing its final arc, starting soon. Very, very looking forward to that. Yeah, just I love nerdy shit. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all do. D&D's super nerdy. Like, you guys, especially if you guys are older than me, D&D used to be the definition of nerdy. Like, it didn't get nerdier than Dungeons and Dragons. Like, when you thought about like the nerdiest guy you could back in like the 80s and 90s, you thought about some dork with glasses playing D&D. Like, I mean, I'm not saying we're all dorks with glasses. Like, I don't wear glasses. I'm kind of a dork though. But that was like the stereotype. And yeah, things have changed a bit since then. But I know you guys know that's how things were. I remember. I'm just old enough to remember that things only started to change as I got older. And, I was pushing for that as I got older. I started I don't want to say I started the movement of like being proud to be a nerd, but I was trying to start the movement. Like, I can't make any claims that I had any real impact on it, but I tried to live my life that way, and I tried to like do my part to start the movement. And at least the videos I made on this channel have all kind of gone with that philosophy. But yeah, I doubt I had much impact on it. Let's be real. I'm nobody really. I've got a small fan base, you guys, but like, yeah, I'm aware my celebrity status is pretty small. We as Gen X were the first to bring to the forefront in the early 90s. Ninja Scroll, Akarin recorded a record of Lodos Wars, etc. I'm not familiar with a lot of those old ones. I have a hard time watching a lot of those just because they are not well dubbed. The dubs are just really bad. Like, I'm sorry, but they are. And I understand the reason. Like, I'm not trying to shit on them. Like, I get why they had to be poorly dubbed. It was just too niche. The fact that DBZ was able to get dubbed well is kind of a small miracle. That Funimation actually sat down and really decided to do it right and do it as good a job as they did. Like, yeah, Chris Sabat did half the voices, but he did a good job on them. Without that, I don't know if anime would have got as popular as it is. But and if it did, it wouldn't have done it as quickly. I'm looking forward to new Black Clover. There's new Black Clover coming soon, dude. I love Black Clover. I haven't. I would love that. I hadn't heard news on that. I haven't been looking at it closely, but that sounds awesome. Black Clover's was one I really liked. Demon Hunter, yeah, that's a great one. Love Black Clover. Yeah, I do. See, I'm a huge anime fan. It's not all about D&D. Like, we can talk about other stuff. Like, oh yeah, I'm wearing a One Piece shirt. That should make it kind of obvious that, I like anime. I wear these shirts all the time. I don't know. I just like graphic tees. And also, as a YouTuber who makes, nerdy content and makes like entertainment content, graphic tees is like the best work uniform you can wear. Like, I can't think of a better like outfit to be wearing than graphic tee for making this content. Just makes it better. You know, you don't want to see a guy in a business suit talking about Dungeons and Dragons. Like, that's dumb. You know what I mean? Like, you know, for a lawyer or something, sure, but talking about Dungeons and Dragons, wear a graphic tee. It's cool. You know, uh, Gen X brought consoles, TTRPGs, and anime. Yeah, I'm not saying you guys did. You guys absolutely did a lot of that stuff. Like, you guys kind of created the internet in a lot of ways. I mean, the boomers sort of, but like, you guys created a large chunk of the internet, and you brought anime to the U.S. in a lot of ways. Um, uh, Consoles, yeah, you guys were the ones who were the original ones playing, you know, the NES back in the day, and man, even going farther back than that, because NES is like OG for me. I started with the SNES, but I remember people playing the NES. But I know you guys freaking playing. Oh man, what were like the Ataris and stuff? Like, I've heard of them. I've never seen an Atari before. I've never actually watched anyone play that. That was too old. Like, nobody had that when I was a kid. I didn't know anybody with that. I knew some people with NESs, and I had the SNES, but I didn't know anyone with an Atari. That was dated by the time I started playing video games, which was when I was like 5. I didn't know video games existed until then. Um, Parents never showed them. No one ever showed them to me, and you know, you can't expect a 4-year-old to know something exists. You know, I didn't have access to figure stuff out on my own back then. I was 4. But what are the famous people you know that play D&D? I mean, Matthew Mercer, obviously. In terms of like actual like celebrities, I mean, Will Wheaton's kind of the face of it. You know, Wesley Crusher from Star Trek. You know, he's a big fan of TTRPGs. He's a major voice in this. Like, he's a major creator in the TTRPG space. I know that. And he also had like big cameos on Big Bang Theory, which was a thing. Which, you know, I liked Big Bang Theory. Was it the best done thing out there? No, but like, eh. And I know, who else? I know Stephen Colbert's a big D&D fan. I know I used to be a big fan of him back in the day. Not as much anymore, but who else? Oh man, I know there's some. There's a lot of famous people that are big on to D&D. Felicia Day, interesting. I'm not super familiar with her. I know the name. I have to look that up. Let's see. Record of Lotus. Record of Lotus Wars is from a dude's D&D campaign from Japan in the 80s that they turned into an anime that is on Crunchyroll. Well to watch. Name sounds kind of familiar. Will Wheaton is lolcal. Yeah, I mean, kind of. Felicia Day, Henry Cavill plays Warhammer. Interesting. Who was the one that was like really surprising? I'm trying to remember. Felicia Day. I'm looking up who she is to see like what I know her from potentially, maybe. Not seeming familiar, but like some of the pictures, it's obvious she's a D&D fan. Like, I mean, I'm seeing pictures of her in like, she looks like a elf cosplay. Yeah, she's definitely in a elf cosplay. So it's like, okay, yeah. Pretty much anyone who would do elf cosplay is at least something of a fan. Yeah, I'm trying to see what I know her from. Spielberg Place, not surprising. Joe Manganiello. I'm not sure. Let's see. The Guild, Supernatural. Tabletop. She actually has a game called Tabletop. Well, that makes sense. Dragon Age. Oh yeah, like looking at some of the stuff she's been in. Yeah, it seems pretty obvious that she'd be. I haven't seen half of this stuff. Buffy. Oh, okay. I never watched Buffy back in the day. I saw it on all the time back on WB, and I was a little too young for that though. Like, I don't know. I was like 12 when Buffy was big, and I don't know. It was too teenagery. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I didn't get all that teen drama stuff back then. It was a little too over my head. Like I understand. I don't know. I didn't have. I was too young to really appreciate a show like Buffy when it was big. Uh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I've heard of him. Vin Diesel. That's the one I was trying to think of before. He's surprising. I've watched interviews with him where he is like, "Yeah, I used to be I was a bouncer, and I'd be at night just at the club being a bouncer, and then I'd go home and I'd just play D&D. That's what I used to do." It's like that is that is not something you would expect. Vin Diesel being a big D&D fan back in the day is kind of crazy. Um, yeah, he's definitely one of the more surprising one. Tim Duncan, Ben Affleck. I'm not familiar with Tim Duncan, at least not the name. I probably know who he is. Ben Affleck. Uh, Trying to look up who some of these people are. Basketball player. Don't play. I'm not a sports fan, so I wouldn't know that. Ben Affleck. Elon Musk. Well, yeah, of course, Elon Musk. Yeah, he's the richest man in the world, world's first trillionaire, technically, although I'm not sure if he is anymore. Pretty sure SpaceX valuation kind of fell off after their IPO. But anyways, yeah, dude's a huge nerd. Like, come on. You really think I'm going to be surprised that Elon Musk is a D&D fan? Dude is dude got in beef with, what's his name? What's that guy's name? With freaking over. He bought freaking a Diablo 4 account to show off how good he was, and then he did it for another game as well. Like, come on, Jon Favreau. Yeah, of course, Jon Favreau. I mean, everyone knows Jon Favreau. I'm assuming you're talking about Jon Favreau, Tony Stark, Iron Man's bodyguard, Jon Favreau. The guy who played Iron Man's bodyguard, also the director of the Iron Man movies. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Elon Musk, obviously, though. Like, dude's a huge freaking nerd. And he wouldn't deny it. Matthew Lillard, don't know him. I don't know sports people. I'll tell you that much. If someone is a sports guy, I don't know them probably. Matthew Lillard definitely is not. I don't know him though. Scooby Doo. Okay, so he's made some stuff. Five Nights at Freddy's apparently. Okay, I'm just looking at it. She's all that. All right, so a lot of stuff that was popular with people slightly older than me, and then Scooby Doo. I watched that movie, so I know who he is, sort of. I've seen some of his stuff. Deborah Ann Wolf, yeah. Ashley Johnson. I don't know half these people are. I don't know that many celebrities, to be honest. Like personally, like Vin Diesel, Stephen Colbert. Those are like the big ones I knew. Like I would bet anything that what's his name plays D&D. The guy who, why am I forgetting his name? I'm so bad with names. But the guy who was from Marvel, the big, like the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy. I can't even remember the character's name off the top of my head. Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, that was the guy's name, not the character, the person. I bet you anything he's a D&D fan. The guy's a huge nerd. He's kind of a badass nerd, but he is very nerdy. And Wolf, celebrity charts playing D&D would make me less likely to play. That's fair enough. Like, I like celebrities, but I'm not like too huge into celebrity culture. Like, I would freak out more for like voice actors. I don't know. Johnny Young Bosch would probably be the celebrity I would like freak out the most about, because I mean, he was the Black Ranger in the Power Ranger movie, the second Black Ranger, not the original, but he was the second Black Ranger in Power Rangers. He's the voice of Ichigo from Bleach. He's the voice of like he does a ton of voice acting in anime. Vash the Stampede and Trigun, which I never really watched, but at the same time, like I know that's a huge anime. I'm sure a number of you are fans of that. The Big Show from WWE. Don't know that one. Anyone a fan of X-Men '97? I think that was the one I watched back in the day. Yeah, I used to watch that. That was a pretty good cartoon back in the day. I used to watch. Um, it was pretty nice. The theater kids are a reason to play solo. Yeah, theater kids. I am not a theater kid. Wasn't even an option for me. We didn't have theater as an elective in my school. Uh, yeah, that hearing about like theater, like that's to me that's something I've only ever seen on like movies and TV. And like I've known people who are like I know Matt Pat is a theater kid, famous YouTuber Matt Pat from Game Theory, and um, I think he's like 2 years older than me or something, or like 1 year, about the same age as me. I can relate to him in a lot of ways, in all honesty. But he's a massive theater kid. But I don't know. To me, it's a foreign concept because I don't know. I come from a small town. We didn't have the budget for theater. We had a band. We didn't really have a theater department at our school. Wasn't a thing. Vince Vaughn. Yeah, I'm familiar with him. I think he's been in the Marvel universe too. Um, yeah, guitarist Tom Morello. Don't know him. Don't know guitarist. Well, I'm a country music fan. Like I don't know anyone outside of that. I'm from a small town. I'm weird like that. Uh, so yeah, for me, it was hard finding people who were like into the same stuff as me growing up, like being from a small town, and yeah. But Vince Vaughn, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, he's with he's part of the guys from with like what are the other guys like Ben Stiller and yeah, he's kind of like the trio with them, and trying to remember like the really famous guys from like Talladega Nights and stuff. Yeah, they made a new X-Men cartoon that is a continuation of the show from the '90s. The second season just came out this year. Oh, that's cool. I see they've been doing a lot of like nostalgia stuff from the '90s, which is pretty awesome. Um, yeah, we've gotten way off from D&D, but I personally don't have an issue with that. I can talk about other nerdy stuff. As long as you guys are cool with talking with stuff. Um, I expect to talk about D&D because that's what the channel's about. But like, yeah, we can talk about other crap. I never liked X-Men. I wrote it for the Sentinels. Interesting. I'm not a sports guy personally, so that is one thing I can't really talk to you much. My favorite sport is basketball. Not much of a basketball fan. That's how much of a sports fan I am. Do I have sports fans in my family? Yeah, a lot of my family likes basketball, football, golf, hockey. Yeah, but me, no, not big into that. Uh, Dan Weiss from Game of Thrones plays. Nice. Not a surprise that someone from Game of Thrones would play D&D. Like, I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but if I was gonna watch, a live action series, yeah, Game of Thrones is like the most like Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead. They're like the most D&D like, uh, popular TV shows. They just are. Yeah. James Gunn, yeah, that's not a surprise at all. James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, not surprising in the slightest. You know what? I bet you the lead in his most famous movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. I bet you, I bet you the lead from that is also a D&D fan. What's his name? He's like the stupidly popular. He blew up so much after that, especially since Jurassic World came out at the same time. It was also huge. Chris Pratt. Yeah, Chris Pratt, I bet you plays. I don't know if he does. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, though. He seems pretty nerdy. Yeah, Chris Pratt, famous YouTuber, YouTube artist, Juan Cabrera, that line draws people on the subways. I don't know them. I'm not too into the art scene with YouTube. Like I know a couple of people, but not many. Um, yeah, uh, I love artists. Like artists are awesome. I'm not gonna lie, but like personal preference, most girls that I've like been into romantically have been artists. Like I don't know, like or at least been like hobbyist artists have been into like been like really into drawing and doing art. I don't know. I tend to go for girls like that typically. Um, so I like artists a lot. I can't do it myself, but I very much respect the craft. And yeah, I tend to find myself romantically interested in girls that are into that a lot of the time. Uh, yeah, the Honor Among Thieves cast played. That's not surprising. Love that movie. But yeah, I mean, it's literally a D&D movie. Like Honor Among Thieves is literally Dungeons and Dragons the movie. And I'm pretty sure it was produced in part by Wizards of the Coast. Like, yeah, like you know, uh, not surprising. Glad that they played because let's get actual D&D players to be the actors. And it's not like it would be that hard to find actors that play D&D. There's a huge overlap. Like the two main communities, like there's two main communities that play D&D. There's the STEM guys like me, your engineers, your mathematicians, you have the STEM guys, your scientists. A lot of them play D&D, and they tend to gravitate heavily towards 3.5, I bet, because STEM guys like the crunchier stuff. That's just because STEM is crunchy, and if you like crunchy, you probably will like STEM, and you'll probably like 3.5. Like it's kind of all the same. And then you also have like your artists. You have your theater kids, your artists. The artists of varying types because theater kid like actors are artists. Artists aren't just people who draw pictures. Art is creating things that have no purpose other than to be enjoyed by humans. That is what art is making things whose only purpose is to create joy in people. Like art has no other purpose besides that, but that's a big purpose. um, so yeah, and like those types, all these people that make art of varying kinds, which anything, create the creation of anything whose whole purpose is to be enjoyed. um, yeah, that's one side. And then the other side, the STEM group, they're also creatives, but they create things whose purpose is entirely practical. Engineers, we're not making things for the purpose of being enjoyed. We're making things because they solve a problem and they're convenient or whatever. Yeah, they might be for enjoyment, but like that's different. Like it's a different matter. Actually, out of the STEM fields, engineers are the most artistic of all the STEM fields. Math, least artistic. That is extremely by the books numbers, very little creativity. Coming up with creative solutions, sure, but like math is extraordinarily rigid. It is what it is. Science a little bit more flexible. It's still pretty rigid because there's a lot of fuzziness in how things actually work. Um, and then let's see, STEM, science, technology. That can be pretty creative too. That's stuff. Uh, yeah, but yeah, art. Like personally, I think STEAM is dumb. Art is its own thing. It doesn't belong with STEM. Like it just doesn't belong. I no hate on artists. I love them, but like they don't belong in the STEM category. That's my hot take there. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the whole STEAM thing. Like, yeah, okay, encourage art in kids, but don't lump it in with STEM. Um, let's see, a STEM dude here. Yeah, I suspect a lot of us are STEM dudes. Like, it's 3.5. It's crunchy. STEM is crunchy. Like, this system attracts STEM play. Like, this system attracts STEM guys. It just does. Uh, I was the lead. I was the lead vocals for a death metal band of the night. Dang, that's kind of cool. I don't know how I don't know how impressive that is because You said a band. I don't know if it was a popular band or if it was just some garage indie band. I don't know. My guess is somewhere in between, probably. Which there were a lot of regionally famous metal bands back then. Trust me, my sister was really big into that stuff. Uh, yeah, my little sister, my little sister probably would have been a fan of yours, like legit. She was really into like indie metal bands. This was more in the 2000s, but still. Um, yeah, social science has been compromised so long it's basically pseudoscience. Sort of. That's a whole thing with social sciences because people aren't rigid. People are messy. Like, you can't make you can't like relying on stereotypes is bad because stereotypes are only about 70% accurate, and it's all 30%, and that doesn't mean that 70% of the time the stereotype's going to be 100% accurate. No, it means 100%. It's more means 100% of the time the stereotype's going to be 70% accurate, and 70% of the things you believe about someone based off stereotypes are true, and then the other 30%, the person is going to be way out in left field and not fit that stereotype at all. So yeah, people are complex. So that's just something you got to keep in mind. And that's a whole thing that makes social sciences messy. They're not rigid. Same with life sciences, although a little bit more rigid with those since law of large numbers. Um, I sing in a praise team and STEM. That's what I do. Nice. So like praise and worship, like Christian band kind of thing. That's kind of, at least I'm assuming that's what you mean. That's pretty cool though. I would agree. Yeah, I kind of get what you mean about social sciences. Not really famous, just had a lot of fun. That's fair. You were probably you're probably locally famous. I'm sure you had, your group of fans in the local community. I know that's how that works with a lot of metal bands. Unless you were literally just a garage band and like the only people who ever heard you were your parents and neighbors who absolutely hated you. Well, not like hated you, but like hated your group. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I love him, but I wish he'd shut the heck up. Because, if you were in a metal band playing in your garage, your parents probably hated when you would play. They probably really hated your hobby. Yeah. I came out of that. I came out of that field. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, that's. You came out of that. Okay, fair enough. 70% accuracy sounds pretty useful to me. It is. Stereotypes are useful. Like it's a great starting point, but it's a starting point. You need to be ready to pivot because people are complex and people don't like it when you put them in a box and assume things about them that aren't true. So you need to be ready to pivot when things aren't accurate. But it's a good starting point. But yeah, at least for someone like me who's autistic and really needs to rely on that more than most people. And what social science lacks is rigor and not rigidity. That's true enough. Loved the chat. I gotta go. 3.5 lovers, and all freaking awesomeness. Yeah, all good. We're probably gonna be wrapping things up fairly soon. I haven't looked at what the time on chat is in a little bit, so I've just been having too much fun. Oh wow, we only got about 7 minutes left. Time flies when you're having fun. So yeah, you're not gonna miss much. We're about ready to end things anyways. Snagwolf, just the pop. I don't know what that weird character that's showing up on my end is, but yeah. Bye, Snag. Good night, Mitch. Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, you're not missing much. We're ending in like 7 minutes, so or it's like 6. But yeah, yeah, it's been awesome chatting with you. I love chatting about D&D, but it's nice when we get to chat about other stuff too. Like, I'm not gonna lie, only talking about D&D is part of what causes like the burnout on my end. It's I love D&D, but like I'm autistic. I have my special interests, which is part of why I'm able to do this channel. But I also got ADHD. I need to mix things up. I got other interests. you know, and YouTube does not reward that. So that's been kind of a thing, but it's been cool getting to chat with you guys about like anime and stuff too. I just know that when I make videos that aren't D&D, I don't get anywhere near the views as when I make something on D&D 3.5. Or when I make something that like talks about multiple systems, that also can do pretty well. Like I'm not surprised that my videos comparing 3.5 to 5e, which I have a number of, that those are some of my best videos. Not surprising in the slightest. Um, the fact that my the video of why play 3 and 5 over 5e, the fact that that's like my most popular video, that's not surprising. I knew it was going to be my most popular video when I made it. And I knew the thumbnail was going to hit because it's a freaking meme. So I knew having a meme thumbnail was going to hit, obviously. But I can't do that every time. That takes a certain amount of creativity. Like, the creativity that's required to make that was required to make that thumbnail, it doesn't hit often. When it does, it's great, but I can't be creative all the time like that. That's just not how the brain works. So yeah, and I can't be making. I can only make so much on like D&D 3.5 versus 5e stuff. Yeah, I don't know, but I think you guys know which video I'm talking about on my channel, because I mean it is my most popular video by like pretty wide margin, I think. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have all seen it, because I'd be surprised if you haven't, especially if you're hanging out here in chat and somehow haven't seen my most popular video. Do I expect everyone in the world to have seen it? No, but a lot of people have, and a lot of people that aren't like even that big of things. Oh wow, this one, it's not my most viewed. It's only my second. That's crazy. How to play D&D 3.5 for 5e players is actually slightly more popular. Why you should play D&D 3.5 instead of 5e? That's shocking. I wouldn't have expected it to be that order. Yeah, but yeah, it's just an 8-minute video. Nice little meme template. Don't have a great way to pull it up unless I do it on my phone, but yeah. I don't know what else to talk about. We're almost ready to we're about ready to wrap things up anyway, so I just figure showing the video might be love the feet short. The feet shorts, it seems like they are a bit longer. So they have gotten longer. So I'm not sure when it happened. It probably's been for a while, and I probably didn't need to speed up a lot of the shorts that I did. But they changed the limit from 1 minute to 3 minutes a while back. So now I can make shorts that are 3 minutes long, and I don't need to do like the John voice, which I'm not actually doing that voice. I just literally am speeding up the video when it causes that, because it's playing it at like 1.5 times speed. So that's a thing. But I don't have to do that anymore because of that, which is nice. One of my videos was actually close to 3 minutes. I was pushing that 3-minute limit. I actually slowed down the music because it wasn't long enough, and I figured slowing down the music would be better than having it play whatchamajigger. It'd be better to slow down the music than to play it twice. I don't know, just a decision I made. But yeah, I do like the shorts. I think they do fit the theme for short. Like I think feats fit, because I've been wanting to make content on feats for a long time, but I really wasn't able to because there wasn't that much to talk about. Like feats are super important, but I can't make a full-length video on a feat. There's just not that much material on a feat. I was thinking of like grouping feats together and stuff for a long time, and then shorts came out as a thing, and I was like, this will be perfect for feats. Let's do that. Let's make feats as shorts, and that's been working pretty well. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying that snack. Yeah, it's been. I just saw it. I'm like, Yeah, shorts would be perfect to do feats. I've been wanting to make those for forever. I just haven't. There hasn't been a media format that worked for shorts, or not that worked for feats. Uh, I try to avoid shorts. TikTok need not be emulated. I get you on that. I'm not a big fan of TikTok. Don't really want the Chinese taking my data, but I don't mind it as much if like Google's taking my data. But I care a little bit more if it's foreign nations doing it. Just personal preference. But yeah, plus Google's not as bad about it as a lot of places. I mean, YouTube's Google. Yeah, YouTube. I mean, they don't. The funny thing with Google is they don't sell your data. I say that, but I say that people think, yeah, they do. I'm like, actually, they don't. They sell the aggregate they generate information based off of your data and sell that. They don't sell your actual data itself because that's too valuable. They hog that for themselves. And then they sell the aggregate because that's better business practice for them. It's true story. Google doesn't actually sell your data. They use their data and then use that create aggregate data from it and sell that off while keeping the source data for themselves. Anyways, we are at the 2.5 hour mark, so we're going to wrap this up. I've been kind of rambling the last little bit anyways. So by a little bit, I mean like 5-10 minutes. Anywho, I mean, I guess this whole thing's been rambling, but like that's the point of a live stream. Anyways, I'll see you guys Monday. Hopefully you guys will be here. But anyways, I'm Mitch. But anyways, as always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you.